Friends, we need to talk about angels and demons. So this episode actually has nothing to do with Good Omens, even though that show has watered my crops and cleared my skin. Unless you're somebody who likes that one Tumblr fan theory about Crowley, which then I see you. So my girlfriend is GMing a Monster of the Week role-playing game. It's a really great system to play. It's powered by the apocalypse. You can create your characters very quickly, and you only need 2 D6s. And the fun thing when you're dating the GM is sometimes you get to be like, hey, what if I did this kind of weird and possibly stupid thing? And then they're like, yes! Anyway, I started the game as a spell slinger, but added a little provision that if I ever rolled the old snake eyes, I would be possessed by some divine being and play an entirely different character. And for giggles, I decided the other character I would play would be my favorite angel, Raphael. Archangel, healer, road trip buddy, demon hunter. He plays a pretty big role in one of my favorite books in the Bible. In one of my favorite books in the Catholic Bible. So the Catholic Bible has more books in it than the Protestant one. Wait, Nella. The Bible's the Bible. How could a Bible have more books? Now, I'm not looking to piss anyone off here, but the thing about the Christian Bible is that in history, people still had to agree on what was canonical. There were councils about this. St. Jerome had opinions. What are you supposed to do with something like the Septuagint? Or the infancy Gospels of St. Thomas, for another matter? Look, maybe give me a 3-month sabbatical and then I can map out which, why, and how these books became considered canonical, but to be honest, I wrote that paper back in senior year of high school, and there are just some roads I don't want to tread again. Anyway, one of those deuterocanonical books, if you're Protestant, you might refer to it as the Apocrypha, is the Book of Tobit. Now, the Bible has some wild stuff in it, but the Book of Tobit is just mwah. So there's this guy, Tobit, and he's living an exiled life in Nineveh, Assyria. He gives alms, he keeps kosher, he buries the dead that's been thrown over the city wall, even though the king has said not to do that because the king's really mad that the Israelites threw him out of Judea and he's trying to make a point. Even though I'm like, you have to bury your dead, that's a public health nightmare. Do you want disease? This is how you get disease. But while he's running around being a Jewish Antigone, some Ninevite snitches on him to the king. Again, King Sennacherib, really bad public policy. Tobit, knowing that the king knows he knows. Wait. Tobit, no. The king knows that the king knows that he's burying the dead. Anyway, Tobit, knowing the king knows he's doing this really illegal thing, books it out of Nineveh. All of his goods and wealth are confiscated by the state, and now he and his wife and his son are destitute. Joke's on King Sennacherib, however, because he ends up murdered by 2 of his sons. Serves him right. So Tobit's nephew puts in the good word for him with the new king, so Tobit can return to Nineveh. Everything's fine, right? Wrong! Tobit's celebrating Shavuot when he gets word that one of their nation was murdered in the marketplace, and his body's just lying there. Now, burying dead Israelites was what got him in trouble the first time around, but, I mean, what's Tobit gonna do? Not bury the guy? Who do you think he is? Some guy who doesn't bury the dead? So he buries the murdered guy and doesn't get in trouble. So everything's fine, right? Wrong! So Tobit goes to have a nap in the courtyard, like you do, and a bird shits in his eye. Now, if he were Sicilian, we'd be like, hey, good luck. Not the case for Tobit. It actually blinds him. Like, completely. It goes pretty badly for him. He has to rely on distant family for support, but eventually that dries out. His wife has to take on work outside the house, which, he could stand to be just a little more grateful about that. Anyway, he has nothing else better to do with his time than pray to God for forgiveness and for the sweet release of death. So dramatic. Smash cut to Sarah of Media, who, funny story, is also praying for the sweet release of death. You see, Sarah's got this little problem I like to call Asmodeus. He's a demon. He's described in the Book of Tobit as the worst, so you know he's bad. And he's been in the habit of every time Sarah's gotten married, he's murdered her husbands before they could stoop. And this has happened 7 times already. Always a bride, never a wife. Well, God gets the memo, and he's like, let's put some of our people on this problem. So God sends the Archangel Raphael to help with some demon stopping, some miracle healing, and to play wingman. And because he's But how are you going to help a couple of mortals without them, screaming because angels are kind of eldritch horrors? I mean, you gotta be sneaky about it. You can't just show up on their doorsteps all like, "Hark! I am the Archangel Raphael and we're going on a road trip." I mean, who do you think you are, the Archangel Gabriel? Enter Raphael, disguised as a human. Stage left. It's a cunning disguise. Now, if you've watched The Dragon Prince on Netflix, all I can imagine is human Rayla. Like, "Hello, fellow human. I hear you're looking to hire a travel buddy. I, too, enjoy praising the Lord and giving alms and taking long walks. Would you like to hire a fellow human?" But in all seriousness, Raphael's a lying liar who lies, because Tobit's over here like, "So what tribe are you from? Who's your family?" And he's like, "Why, I'm part of the same tribe as you are." But I guess when you're an archangel and you're undercover, lying's fine. Or whatever. Anyway, totally human Raphael and Tobit's son Tobias hit the road to Media. See, Tobit remembers that he once lent a guy there a lot of money, so once Tobias gets it back, the family will not be quite so destitute anymore, which would be nice. So they're camping along the Tigris, and Tobias is washing his feet in the river, like you do, when a great big fish comes up and tries to swallow his foot. Which begs the question, so are there, catfish in the Tigris River? Because I feel like that's a very catfish thing to do. Like, you got a little too close to a catfish hole, and he was like, delicious human foot. Anyway, Raphael is like, perfect, we'll have a fish fry, like humans do, with the eating. Just be sure to save the gallbladder, the heart, and the liver, for reasons. And Tobias is like, "Reasons? What reasons?" "Oh, for healing blindness, banishing demons." "Why would I need to banish a demon?" "Oh, look! It's Media! Ha! We should stay with that kinsman of yours. I hear he has a daughter. She's lovely. What if you married her?" "Wait, what?" No, I know what you're thinking. "But friend, she's been married 7 times, and each time an evil demon has slayed her husbands before they could consummate their union." "Wait, what?" "But I have a cunning plan. You still have that fish liver and heart, right?" "Yeah." "Excellent." So Tobias marries Sarah. It's the Bible, things move fast. And the night of their wedding, they have a big old pray about it and burn the fish bits, like Raphael said to. And that's all it takes. Asmodeus is like, "Oh no, what the hell is that smell?" And flees all the way to Egypt, where Raphael follows him and ties him up. Alright, Good Omens fandom, I expect the 4,000-word fanfiction follow-up on my desk by Monday. Meanwhile, that night, Sarah's dad totally dug a grave for Tobias because he just assumed he was going to be killed by the demon anyway, and 8 guys ending up dead in your daughter's marriage bed is just embarrassing, and he doesn't want to draw attention to it. But then Tobias lives, so her dad just sort of quietly covers the grave and never mentions it again. Meanwhile, back in Nineveh, Tobias' mother Anna is being played by every Catholic mother ever because she hasn't heard from him in 2 weeks and she assumes he's dead in a ditch somewhere. But Tobias is actually on his way back to Nineveh with his wife and archangel and all the swag he got for marrying Sarah and not dying. And on the way, Raphael's like, okay, fellow human, now, when you get home, take that fish gallbladder, grind it up to a fine powder, and blow it into your father's eyes. What? And Tobias does that, and would you look at that? Tobit's eyesight is restored. The scales have fallen from his eyes. Best day ever! So then Tobit's like, Tobias, so glad you're home. Pay the nice man who helped you and got you married and got you all this other stuff. And be sure to give him a nice tip as well. He's earned it. And Tobias is like, my friend, let me give you half of everything we brought back from media. Oh, no, that's really not necessary. Your praising of God is payment enough. But I want to. I would have had nothing if it weren't for you. Yeah, about that. So, first off, I want you to know I'm telling you the truth now. And I understand I wasn't completely honest with you before, but that's not the same thing as lying. Wait, what? Aha! It is I, the Archangel Raphael, one of the 7 archangels, the Magnificent 7, you could say. Oh, you're not screaming. That's good. People usually scream when... Anyway, God sent me to help. Oh! I didn't actually eat the fish or any of the other food at the wedding feast. I just put on the appearance of eating. I don't know why, but I feel it's very important to say that. 'Cause it's in the book. Anyway, my work here is done. God is great. Live long and prosper. I might be paraphrasing a little bit here. Yada, yada, yada. Tobit lives until he's 112 years old and tells his son that once he's dead to get out of Nineveh while the getting's good. So Tobias takes his family and moves back to Media, which then turns around and conquers Nineveh. Captures people, there's wailing and gnashing of teeth, all that jazz. And that's it. That's the Book of Tobit. Just a rip-roaring human-angel buddy comedy. And if you think that one's good, wait till I tell you the one about Daniel and the dragon. Hark and be not afraid. It is I, Nella, with a special thank you to my ear lenders. Avi Finkel, Chandra, Mario B, William Christopher, and Xantha Pink. Thank you for your continued support. Some news for the rest of you. I have a P.O. box now, so send me postcards and things. They can be educational, funny, stupid, just nothing crass or rude. I mean, me saying that isn't going to stop you, but I'll never mention it, so you'll be sitting there wondering, did I get your rude and crass postcard? And then you'll never know, and it'll haunt you forever, so just don't bother. If you send anything else, however, I might very well show it off in a video and read it out loud, so make it good. Just address it to A.Inserra, P.O. Box 730814, Elmhurst, New York, 11373. Gint. Septuagint. God, I probably am pronouncing that completely wrong. I want it to be known that I looked up the pronunciation of this and I found conflicting pronunciations and I'm still probably getting it wrong. I just want to make that clear to my viewers. I try.